Let me do that again. Good morning, everyone. This is Fighter Strike 95 Flight Sim, and today we're back here. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope you're all have had a great weekend so far. Today we're here for our National Park Series, part 31 of 63. We're just halfway there. And look at that, we just got a raid from Shaq OSC. Right as the stream just started. I wonder if you were waiting for me to do that one. But good to see you, Shaq and OSC viewers. We're just about to get started for our National Park Series, part 31 of 63. We're here to talk about Canyonlands National Park in Utah, one of Utah's big 5 national parks here in the United States. So I hope you guys have had a great morning yourselves. But yeah, today is Canyonlands, and we're going to explore the absolutely insanity that's Canyonlands National Park. So we're actually right here in Monument Valley Airport, Uniform Tango 25. We're in Monument Valley, and we're ready to do some flying across this area. So before we get started, I do want to say hello to everyone here, the lurkers and mods. Good to see you. Hello, Super Typhon. Good to have you here. Shako OSC, thank you for the raid. Forza Horizon 6. Good choice. I heard that's been the best Forza game in quite a long time of the Horizon series. So here's our flight plan for this morning, by the way, if you guys wanted to actually get to know that one a bit better. So here's our flight plan. Before we get started to fly to the national park, we'll be flying over Monument Valley first. We're going to visit Monument Valley, and we're just going to fly around this boot formation of Monument Valley. We're going to be doing that first, so we get to fly through all of Monument Valley. Then we'll circle on back. Then we'll circle on back this way and make our way forward from around the Glen Canyon area of Glen Canyon. Then we'll head out east, and we'll make our first stop of the day here at HIT Airport, Uniform Tango 03, a really unique little airport. The airstrip is actually right here on the side of a highway of Utah Route 95. There's this little airstrip right here. Then from there, the rest will be flying all throughout Canyonlands National Park. We'll make several landings. The most notable landing we'll make here today, of course, around the Needles District. We're going to have a couple of landings here. The Needles District. We'll also have one around the Island and Sky of Junction Butte. But we're going to find all throughout this area, and we'll make our landing here at Tangri-La Airport, Uniform Tango 68, right, which is right in the banks of the Colorado River. This should be an absolutely stunning flight, and I'm hoping we can actually make a bush landing around the Needle District. We'll make a landing there. We'll make some landing overlooked by the river, of course. There's a lot of really cool stuff around this national park. Really striking park. Hopefully we also get another landing right by the Island of the Sky. Around that area. We'll find plenty of overlooks and landings we can do here at the park. There's just a treasure trove. Yeah, the map is incredible from what I've heard. So we're going to take the X-Cub here today. I got the big wheels version. So we can handle the bush scenery a bit better here than the normal X-Cub, which should be kind of helpful with the rocky conditions here at this national park. So we're going to take that with us too. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to go. I did take the X-Cub on Friday, of course, for our game day flight. Which, if you guys all knew what happened, the U.S. national team took care of business. Obviously. So, our cruising altitude for the first leg of the trip, by the way. Our first leg altitude for the entirety of the first leg, we can fly around at 7,000 feet. So let's go to 7,000 feet so we can pretty much be covered no matter what. And we're going to start by flying 112 degrees. So yeah, I can do that. So yeah, we're going to be pretty good. So let's go ahead and taxi. You guys are more than welcome to fly along with me, of course. We're in Southeast Asian server. Exclamation point server will give us into here today. We're Southeast Asia server, and here's our route. So here we go, guys. Our airport. Thankfully, we have the X Cub, which is good enough for taking offs here. So we've actually flown over Monument Valley during our around the world trip back in the DC3 a couple years ago for MSFS 2020. So here it is, guys. Monument Valley. This here is Monument Valley, guys. Now, I don't have notes for this one, but Monument Valley is a region of the Colorado Plateau characterized by a cluster of sandstone buttes, with the largest region 1,000 feet above the valley floor. And the most famous butte formations are located around northeast Arizona, and it's considered sacred by the Navajo Nation and the Native American people for which reservation lies. And Monument Valley has been featured in many Western films since the 1930s. And a lot of people, this is where a lot of people think of American West as Monument Valley. Pretty cool stuff. Basically, Monument Valley is part of a tribal park, which is the Navajo Nation equivalent of a national park. And visitors can pay an access fee and drive through the park road. But yeah, really cool stuff. If you've never been to Monument Valley, it's definitely pretty neat. Check it out, of course. Yeah, look at the views from out here, guys. So this is Monument Valley. What have you? Yes, even though it's not a national park, it's technically the Native American equivalent of a national park, so that's why we're flying here for a bit, just to explore Monument Valley in MSFS 2024. Looks great. Monument Valley looks fantastic on MSFS 2024. Looks amazing. Let me give you a bit more of a screenshot of that. Yeah, just really cool. Really cool area, of course. Yeah, haven't taken much of the X Cub out for a spin, so that's why I wanted to fly the X Cub today. I haven't taken that plane out much for a spin for the National Park Series. Now this is where the heart of Monument Valley really is. just look at Monument Valley, guys. That's really cool. Just striking. These boots are absolutely striking in the sim. Man, does this new sim look good. It's a beautiful area, guys. So once we get out of Monument Valley, we'll start talking about the next part of the series, of course. But what an absolutely gorgeous place. So we'll talk about Canyonlands once we get around the last point, which is waypoint 4, of course. But yeah, just absolutely insane. Imagine, I wonder how much more beautiful this area is going to get with the new update. Because Canyonlands is going to be one of the national parks covered here, so we'll be doing a redux of these sort of stuff. Just crazy, crazy scenery. Like I said, this planet has got so much stuff in this planet. It's crazy, the scenery of this area. Mind you, that's why the United States is so special of a place to visit, because there's just so much variety. You got your big Appalachian forest in the east, Pacific Northwest, the Cascades, Canyonlands here, northern Arizona, Utah, the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, Wyoming. I mean, there's just so much scenery in this country. It's just people take it for it's something we Americans take for granted. People in Europe aren't used to seeing a lot of these sort of stuff. So we're gonna turn right here, but I forgot to turn right. So 299 degrees. We're gonna go ahead and start talking about Canyonlands National Park. Once we get there, we'll talk about Canyonlands. So we can finally start talking about our national park for today, which is Canyonlands National Park. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of a visit to Monument Valley, of course, the side trip to Monument Valley. So we're going to go ahead and start talking about our national park. Canyonlands National Park in Utah. It's just southeast of Moab, southeastern Utah, near the town of Moab. This unique national park covered a colorful landscape and rode into numerous canyons, mesas, buttes by the Colorado River, the Green River, and tributaries. And this park was signed into law by Lyndon B. Johnson, in 1964. The park is divided into 4 different districts: the Eye of the Sky, the Needles, Maze, and the combined rivers, which carved 2 large canyons into the Colorado Plateau. And while these areas share a desert atmosphere, each retains its own unique character. Author Edward Abbey, a frequent visitor of the park, described Canyonlands as the most weird, wonderful, magical place on Earth, and there's nothing like it anywhere. And he's not kidding, because Canyonlands National Park is just insanely underrated park. One of the most striking and beautiful parks in the park system. Really, really beautiful area, and absolutely gorgeous. Tons of scenery and stuff all throughout the park. Incredible stuff all around. Last year, of course, 2024, 818,000 people visited the national park in 2024. So it's probably one of the least visited parks in all of Utah. I think this is actually the least visited national park of the 5 Utah national parks. I believe this one is the least visited, actually. It's by far the least visited national park in the state of Utah. Even Capitol Reef has had more visitors than Canyonlands. But that lack of visitation means this is going to be a very special national park that we're going to be coming to today, of course. So, pretty cool stuff about Canyonlands National Park. Really neat area, very, very underrated, of course. The park itself, 337,000 acres. And it's located within the San Juan, Wayne, Garfield, and Graham counties of Utah. So, pretty cool stuff. The history of the national park of Canyonlands dates back to the 1950s, of course, when Bate Wilson, the then superintendent of Arches National Monument, he started to explore the area west of Moab. And when he went there and went west to explore, of course, after seeing what is now the Needle District, he began advocating of a new national park that would include the Needles. And then he did other explorations by him and others, expanded the areas proposed for incursion and to include the confluence of the Green Colorado Rivers, the Maze District, and Horseshoe Canyon. And then, of course, Utah Senator Stuart Udall was scheduled to address a conference at Grand Canyon National Park, and on his way to the conference, he flew over the confluence, and it sparked his interest in Wilson's proposal for a new national park. And Udall, along with Wilson, helped promote the establishment of Canyonlands National Park. Utah Senator Frank Moss first introduced legislation in Congress to create the national park and satisfy both major preservative and commercial developer interest. And over the next 4 years, it was struck down, debated, revised, and reintroduced to Congress many times before finally being passed and signed into law in September 1964, when Lyndon B. Johnson signed by Public Law 88-590, which established the national park. And Bates Wilson became the first superintendent of the park and is often referred to as the father of Canyonlands National Park. Pretty cool stuff. A very brief history, but very cool to know, of course. So really, really neat stuff. So yeah. And this here's the other Monument Valley Airport, Ojito National Monument, right here. There's a little airport that gets into that side of Monument Valley. We're gonna go through this area, of course. Plenty of stuff to talk about Canyonlands, of course. Um, so let's talk about some other stuff briefly. I want to go over some of the other stuff briefly for this year's World Cup, of course. Um, Yesterday was quite a bit of interesting stuff. Quite a few of the teams played yesterday, of course, for the World Cup. Qatar and Switzerland played first, and Switzerland led for pretty much most of the game after a Embolo goal in the 17th minute. However, Qatar at stoppage time got a own goal to split points. I mean, can you believe it? Absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy to think that happens. Of course, the next one is Brazil Morocco. Now, that was a fun game, of course. It went pretty much back and forth between Mexico and Morocco, but Brazil and Morocco, it was pretty even, but they managed to split points at MetLife. Vinny Jr. got a goal, and so did Sabari from Morocco, but they didn't really do too much in the second half. Unbelievably, the group leader in Group C is Scotland. John McGinn put the Scots up in the 28th minute and did not look back. Scotland got a big 3 points in the World Cup. Big 3 points for the Scots. For Scotland, of course. Big one for them, of course, for the World Cup. And then today, of course, was Australia and Turkey, because, of course, Australians had to schedule very late at night for the Australians. And they surprised me because they absolutely dominated Turkey. The Turks, even though they had the more momentum for the game, the Australians got 2 very big goals by Iran Kunda and Metcalf got the goals for the Aussies. And the Socceroos get a shocking 2-0 win. Against a very solid Turkey squad. So, big wins for Group D, of course. Not one to be underestimated, though, for Group D, of course. Our next match is the Socceroos in Australia. If the United States gets 3 points, we're pretty much secure for the second round. And I think that's what the United States needs to do, is we just need to get the 3 points against Australia, which won't be easy considering how well they did against Turkey, how they managed to win against the Turks. But yeah, 3 points would automatically basically guarantee the United States advancing to the World Cup for the next round, to the round 32. That would probably guarantee the United States. Because even if we won't, that's why I think I would like to have a win against the Australians. Win here, we pretty much secure to the next round. So I think it looks like U.S. and Australia might be able to advance to the next round. Pretty crazy. Then today, our World Cup matchups: Germany and Curacao. Then we have Netherlands, Japan at 4 p.m. 7 p.m. the Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast versus Ecuador, and Sweden, Tunisia are our World Cup matches today. Hey, good to see you, NGL. Good to see you. First time in chat. Welcome on in. You're part of Shaq's Raid. Really appreciate it, my dude, for coming on in. I hope you're having a good time as well. In terms of other news, a very big news, of course. The NBA Finals is officially over. a new NBA champion, another new NBA champion, 8 champions in the last 8 years. It's the New York Knicks. The Knickerbockers have actually done it. The Knicks have won their third title in franchise history. They won in 5 games. They had an unbelievable run. I mean, their team was just really well built. Anunoby, Bridges, Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, like guys who are just proven winners. I'm not surprised that Karl-Anthony Towns has completely redeemed his entire legacy. But yeah, a massive win for Knicks fans everywhere. They've been waiting for that title for 53 years. They've been waiting long enough for that title to go back to New York City. So massive congrats for the Knicks fan. It's tough as a Pacers fan to see the Knicks win, but hey, their fans have been waiting long enough for it, so not going to complain too much about it. Yeah, an unbelievable finals this year. It's definitely been one of the best finals in many years, of course. Like, this year's finals has been the best in years, honestly. It's been great. And all the games have been really close, too. So, I know the Spurs will definitely get back soon. I mean, with Wembanyama, he's absolutely very talented, of course. Wemby, I think, will definitely be back to the finals. Especially because he is basically the alien. He's freakishly talented, to say the least. In terms of other sports, tonight will also be the Stanley Cup Final Game 6. Looks like the Canes could close it out. So it looks like the Hurricanes could potentially close it out here in Las Vegas, which would be Carolina's first Stanley Final since 2006. Oh yeah, and one last American football bit of news. The Louisville Kings have just won the UFL championship for the United Football League. The Louisville Kings in its first year won. My local team won. Yes, let's go. So yeah, Louisville's gonna bring home a major championship. uh, so that's been about the sports news I want to cover for the flights and stuff. Our next game day flight will be Sweden and Netherlands, of course. The Sweden versus Netherlands matchup at the NRG Stadium will be what we're going to do. It was definitely an interesting choice for the next World Cup match. I could have done Scotland and Morocco. That would have been interesting too, or I could have actually done Germany at the Ivory Coast. But I'm saving it up for the knockouts where we do some of the bigger games, of course. For all this stuff. And the other one I would have also considered was Spain and Saudi Arabia. It was another one to cover the Spanish team. So, in the next national park after this will be North Cascades in Washington, which would also be covered in the New World Update. Yeah, a lot of parks are going to be in that New World Update. So, lots of stuff to cover here over the next couple stuff. So let's talk about some bit about the recreation here at the park. Now, in terms of recreation standards and about this national park, it is definitely a popular recreation destination. Since 2007, more than 400,000 people visit the park each year. The unique geography of this park is well suited to a number of different recreational activities. Hikers, mountain bikers, backpackers, and four-wheelers all enjoy the rugged remote trails in the park. White Rim Road travels through the White Rim Sandstone. The Isle in the Sky District, with its proximity to Moab, attracts most of the park visitors. With the Needles being with 76%, the Needles is the second most visited with 20%. Believe it or not, the third one is the Maze District, 1%, 1.5% of all visitors, and river rafters are the least visited with 1%. Though rafters and kayakers float the calm stretches of the Green River and Colorado River above the confluence, below, Cara Canyon attract powerful whitewater rapids. And as a result, has had a lot of whitewater rapids. Now, of course, at the time, political compromise did limit the protected area a bit, though conservation hoped to complete the park by bringing the boundaries up to the high sandstone rims that form the natural borders of the landscape. So, pretty interesting stuff. There's plenty to do here at the park. There's all sorts of nature lovers with So lots of really cool stuff for recreation opportunities in the park. There's just plenty to do. So really, really cool stuff about Canyonlands we're going to get into. The geography of the park is also really, really diverse as well. The Colorado and Green River combined with the park, divided into 3 districts between Isle in the Sky, the Needles, and the Maze. So for each district, I do want to talk about briefly. The first one is Island of the Sky, which is a broad and level mesa in the northern section of the park. Between the Colorado and Green Rivers, the district has many viewpoints overlooking the White Rim, which are another 1,000 feet below. The Needles district south of it is on the east side of the river, named for the red and white banded pinnacles that are the major feature of the area. Various other sculpted natural rock formations are also here, gravens, potholes, and arches. And unlike the arches here at Arches National Park, these arches require long hikes or four-wheel drives to reach them. The last one is the Maze District, located west of the Colorado and Green Rivers, and is the least accessible section, and one of the most remote and accessible areas here in the United States. And the picture here references the chocolate drop boots here at the Maze District. Now, we'll be checking out all 3 regions here. And of course, people are still finding new areas around this region over the last couple of years, but really cool stuff. So we'll be each landing in the 3 different regions. Of course, we'll start with the Maze region. Of course. We'll find. We'll land at the campground for the Maze Overlook Campground. So we'll fly over and land in one of the campgrounds. Some pretty cool stuff here as well. Oh, no worries about it. Taking the dog out for the walk. No worries, Shaq. We'll be making our way over to our first land site pretty soon. So pretty cool stuff. We're about to enter into Glen Canyon. So all this area around here is Glen Canyon. Goes through the Colorado River and such. Really striking area, of course. But now we're going to be entering into the Colorado, of course. Straight ahead of us. Yeah, just look at the landscapes here. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, we're going to have several of these bush lanes throughout the stream, of course. So we're going to have plenty of opportunities to land in the bush. Basically, we'll just do some GA bush landings, very tough areas to land. So we're going to have plenty of opportunities for that. So we're going to turn ahead and turn right here. We're going to go ahead. So here we are, guys. We're going to make our way over to Hill Airport. Our last slide for now, of course, we'll talk about the flora and fauna of the park. Hey, Sergeant Yash, good to see ya. Morning, my dude. I hope you're having a good day yourself. We're just here. We're about to get into Canyonlands National Park soon. We got one more lane left to go. So we're going to go ahead and cover the fauna and flora of the national park for the last slides for this leg at least. So in terms of the fauna, there's all sorts of animals that roam around the park. Black bears, coyotes, skunks, bats, elks, foxes, bobcats, badgers, ring-tailed cats, pronghorn, desert bighorn sheep, and cougars all roam around the park. Other animals that come seen by visitors are cottontails, kangaroo rats, and mule deer are some of the most common mammal species you can find here at the park. Really cool stuff. Now, in terms of bird species, there's around 273 different bird species in the park, including a variety of hawks and eagles, from the Cooper's hawk to the golden eagle, bald eagles, rough-legged hawks, and Swainson's hawk all live in this area, of course. Goshawks and all that. There's also owl species, including the great horned owl, the northern saw-whet owl, the Russian screech owl, and the Mexican spotted owl are all found here in this national park, as well as several other birds like woodpeckers, ravens, herons, crows, blackbirds, orioles, ducks, quail, pheasants, hummingbirds, falcons, and ospreys are included among the bird species. For reptiles, there's 11 species of lizard and 8 species of snake that live here, including the midget faded rattlesnake, found just in this area, of course. Though some people have been reported to see king snake in the park and prairie rattlesnake, but that's not been confirmed by the Park Service. And there's 6 different amphibian species here, and the tiger salamander are also been around here too. Now, for the flora side of things, for the plants, there's 11 different cacti species, 20 different moss species, liverworts, grasses, and wildflowers are observed in the park. There's also been a variety of trees, from netleaf hackleberry to Russian olive tree as an introduced species, Utah juniper, pinyon, tamarisk, which is invasive, and Fremont's cottonwood. Now, of course, much of those foundations of life here in the park are the cryptobiotic soil that's found here in the Canyonlands, providing nitrogen fixation and moisture for plant seeds. One footprint can destroy decades of growth, because remember, the stuff that's on the ground here at the park is actually got living organisms in there. So pretty cool to see here. You joined late? No worries, Sergeant Yash. You come here at a good time. Actually, we're very close to the park. We're not that far off. Of course, we're gonna have a bushling in each of the different districts. We're gonna have, I think, 4 of them here. One for we're gonna do a bush landing at the Confluence Overlook. We'll do a bush landing at Maze Overlook of the Maze District. We'll have one for the Eye of the Sky. We'll have we're gonna have one by the White Rim Overlook. We're gonna have a bush landing in White Rim Overlook. So we're gonna have several, and we're gonna have one here in the Needles District. And we're gonna have one right in the Needle District. So we're gonna have plenty of landing picks for this one. So you actually come in a good time. So don't worry about it too much. Hey, Ian Fisher, good to see you, my dude. Happy Sunday. So here's a shout for Ian Fisher. Giving him a shout out here for today. Definitely check out his streams. He does some really cool Flight Sim stuff. Sometimes with P3D, but I know he's also been streaming Flight Sim 2024 recently too. I hope you're doing well. Actually, I decided to change the flight plan a little bit. We're going to change our flight plan here for a bit. I actually found there's an airport even closer to where we're at. I'm going to make the change for you guys. We're not going to land at UT68 for the final leg. We're actually going to land at U64 for this one. It's because I found a shorter flight plan that will get us through all of it. I found one that's a little shorter we can go through. That's a little shorter, so we don't have to worry about it too much. So we're going to land at UT03 for this one. But yeah, look at some of the canyons, guys. Ugh, look at the scenery, man. And of course, we're not even into Canyonlands National Park yet, and this is absolutely just stunning. But if you weren't around, we started at Monument Valley first. We took a bit of a side trip to Monument Valley. So all this is by the banks of the Colorado River. I know a lot of you guys know the Colorado River was involved in the Grand Canyon, but I think Canyonlands is going to be its own stunning bit of beauty when we visit there, of course. But just look at the landscape, guys. Can you imagine this? How far are we? We are from U64. We're 115 nautical miles away. So we're not that far away from the final stop. We're gonna stop here for a bit so any one of us can join on in. So here it is, guys. Our first stop. I picked this one because it's a really cool airport. It's a really neat GA airport right on the side of a road. Really cool airport, this one. So we're going to make our first landing very, very shortly. Very cool stuff here. But yeah, just look at the landscape here. And imagine this. This place is going to get updated for 2024. So we're about to make our first landing very soon. So here we go, guys. Autopilot will be off. Flight director off. So we're going to land. We're going to do a pretty cool landing here at runway 09. We're going to do a 09 landing. Yeah, this is just striking. Yeah, that's a lot for the small plane. It is quite a bit, but remember, this is like the perfect plane to do these sort of flights. The X-Cubs, Savage Nordens, like these are the perfect planes for the type of flights we're doing here today because they can take off from a really short distance. And remember, I mainly also stream for around 2.5 hours is mainly my stream time, so that's why I do the flight plan like that. That's why we want to have 2 legs for this one. Yeah, look at that. Look at that for approach. So. We'll stop right here for just about a few minutes or two. But yeah, no problem here. Really scenic little airport, of course, right near the canyon walls. So we'll stay right here for just a bit if you guys want to join it in. Here's our route. And yes, I updated already for our new airport and server. If you guys are enjoying this stream and want to continue supporting the channel, smash that follow button, support the channel. We stream 3 times a week, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 1500 Zulu time. Here on Twitch, of course. Mm, mm, mm. So we're doing pretty good, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this fight so far. We got one last lane left to go. We're going to be exploring Canyonlands. We're going to make 4 different bushlands here today. We're gonna fly over to the confluence of the Colorado and Green rivers. We'll make one at the maze. We'll take an overlook here. We'll fly into the Eye of the Sky for a bush landing here at White Rim Overlook. And then, of course, we'll make one of the needles. So that's going to be where we're going to do next leg, guys. We're about nearly done with all of it. So I'm very excited for the new national park update, of course, guys. I know that it's going to cover many of the parks I've already visited. So I'm going to do a bit of a redo, a redux. But it's going to be a bit shorter flight plans because I'm thinking about just doing a more rapid fire sort of thing. So here we go. We're off. See, that is why we take a bush plane for this. So we're going to fly around 7,000 feet for pretty much of this is going to be around 7,000 feet. So we're going to. So here we go, guys. Let's go over some of our notes then. Our next piece of notes for this one is the climate of the national park. Canyonlands National Park is cold semi-arid climate. There's 2 different weather stations in the park since 1965. In the desert climate, receives less than 10 inches of rainfall a year, with hot, mostly dry summers and cold, occasionally wet winters. The highest temperature here recorded at the park was 105 degrees in July. The record low was -13 in February. Is the record high and low, according to the NEC. In national parks in the West are often more affected by climate change than the country as a whole because of the ecosystems, of course. In terms of geology, this is very interesting here. The geology of the national park is quite diverse and complex. There are 12 different formations exposed here in the national park that range from the Pennsylvanian era to the older Cretaceous era. The oldest and most interesting was created from evaporating seawater. Various fossil-rich limestones, sandstones, and shells were deposited by advancing and retrieving more shallow seas throughout much of the Paleozoic. Then eroded sediment from the nearby mountain range later mixed with the coastal dune sandbar deposits to form much of the sand rock. The end of the Paleozoic era and the Mesozoic saw the seas retreat from the region until the late Cenozoic, and the subdued topography was dominated by floodplains and tidal flats. Now, further inland, the Triassic region was covered by much of deserts, except when the time when streams for a time fought the sand dunes. Then wetter tides returned during the Cretaceous, and the area was flooded with the Western Interior Seaway. Finally, in the Cretaceous, the uplifting of the Rocky Mountains began and greatly affected the Canyonlands region, with increased erosion rates and further quickening the onset of the ice ages. It now created the scenery which is now Canyonlands National Park. Pretty cool. A lot of this is eroded, has been eroded over a couple millions of years. Now, here's some really cool stuff and features found in the park. Lots of really cool things found here at Canyonlands that we'll be seeing here. One of the ones found here in the park is Angel Arch, the largest natural arch here at the park. And some people consider it to be the most beautiful, spectacular arch, not just in the park, but in the entire canyon country. Located in the side canyon of Salt Creek Canyon, in the Needles district of the park, precipitation from runoff from Angel Arch drains into the Colorado River, and in order to reach it, you would need to take a 29-mile round-trip hike. The arch's descriptive name comes from the resemblance to an angel's wing folded, standing on its back to the arch opening. Before this feature's name was officially adopted in 1963, it was called Pegasus Arch, and the first ascent was made in 1993 by John Markle and Kevin Chase, who were the first people to ascend to climb the arch. It's about 120 feet wide and 135 feet tall. We will be visiting Angel Arch during our time at the Needles District. We'll get a chance to see this arch. We get to see Angel Arch during this time. So pretty cool stuff here. Next is the White Rim Road. Now this road goes through the park. This 71-mile long unpaved four-wheel drive road traverses the top of White Rim Sandstone below the island of Sky Mesa. This road was constructed in the 50s by the Atomic Energy Commission to provide access for individual prospectors intent on mining the deposits for nuclear weapons during the Cold War. And there were large deposits found in similar areas. However, the areas around the road did not have very much uranium, so they were abandoned, but the road is still here. It consists of loose dirt, sandy dry washes, and sandstone rock formations. Four-wheel drive vehicles and mountain bikes are the most common modes of transport, though horseback riding and hiking is permitted here too. The roads, there's a couple of roads that lead into it, mainly our Mineral Bottom Road, also got Horse Thief Trail in the park's west side, and Schaefer Trail on the east. And this road takes you to some of the really cool stuff on White Mesa. Really neat stuff. Yeah, pretty cool stuff about White Rim Road. And there's two more slides we're going to cover here. I'm going to go rapid fire. We have Cataract Canyon, which is the confluence with the Green River, and it goes downstream to the Dirty Devil River, this 46-mile-long canyon. It also occurs in the recreation area. And this river is cut by the Colorado River to the plateau, and it's a very, very popular destination for whitewater rafting. The rapids here are considered big water with characteristics found similar to that of the Grand Canyon, and it's rated Class 1 to 6 in the International Scale River Difficulty, which is different from Grand Canyon, which is 1 to 10. It can reach pretty high levels during plentiful snow, of course. And there are several commercial outfitters that guide trips through the Cataract Canyon, and they vary between 1 to 6 days and use both motorized and non-motorized vessels to get through into the canyon, of course. But really cool stuff. This area is amazing for whitewater rafting. And the last slide for today is Junction Butte, 6,400 foot butte in the Oshkosh District. Access to the butte is often through four-wheel drive via Rim Road, which is another option to view it as well. It's around 6,400 feet above sea level. It's about 1,700 feet of prominence. And it's made of hard, fine-grained Wingate sandstone, which is deposited around 200 million years ago. Pretty cool stuff. Of course, you can climb up the butte, but you can also view it from up here too. Really cool stuff. And that's our last slide for today. So the rest of it, we're going to be exploring this place. So I'm very much looking forward to explore it with you guys. So we're about to arrive at the Canyonlands National Park. Now, mind you, this is pre-update Canyonlands National Park. So when we get back there, now don't worry, the ones we're going to do for the Redux when the update is going to happen is going to be shorter versions of all the flight plans, and everything's going to start pretty much and end near the national parks, because we might cover multiple of them just to see what they look like pre and post update. So yeah, we're about to make our way. You just came back in time, Shaq. We're about to hit Canyonlands National Park. We're going to be. You got back at a great time. Very much looking forward to this. It's a beautiful area here. Look at the striking canyons, guys. Look at the landscape here. This is still pretty, even pre-update. But it makes me more excited to check out the place post-update because, like I said, they're going to bring so much into these areas. They said it's one of their biggest world updates ever, honestly. Oh yeah, one more thing too. You know what's interesting as well? Um, so I've been actually reading on Twitter apparently, or X, or whatever people call it. I've been keeping an eye on these World Cup tourists, people visiting the World Cup, of course, between the international fans. Um, a lot of people are discovering a lot of places about the United States. Some people were like culturally shocked. I've been looking up, like, for example, people from Japan visiting Texas and trying out the brisket. They were completely shocked compared to what they were back then. Um, then one of the guys, Freddie, he visited. He visited around the South. He actually went around New Orleans. He got to see an alligator. He got to go visit the Saints in New Orleans, LSU. He got to check out a Waffle House. Yes, people, Europeans checking out Waffle Houses. Bass Pro Shop. He went into a Bass Pro Shop. And yes, he even went to a Buc-ee's. Now, if you guys from Europe never heard about Buc-ee's, by the way, they are these are travel centers. They're huge. Clean restrooms, gigantic mega stores, gas pumps, snacks, and everything. It's like the ultimate place for a road trip. And they got them all over the American South. Um, it's absolutely crazy. Like like just learn about America. I think they got culture shock to see parts of America most tourists don't get to see when they visit the States. Because when most international people fly into the United States or visit the United States, they either fly to Los Angeles or New York City and all those big cities. A lot of people are shocked when they visit the smaller places and all that. The places a lot of people don't get to visit. And I think that's really interesting to check out. As someone living in the States, of course. So we're going to fly into the Confluence Overlook, which is right here, of course. We're going to turn in. So we're going to make this our first bushland stop of the day. Like I said, it's nice to actually have a bush aircraft that can do these landings. Like I said, a little bit. It may not be a perfect landing. Like I said, landing these areas is never easy. But thankfully for this plane, there's a pretty easy stop right around here. And I crashed. Oh, I thought I could get it down. As I can't. Like I said, it's never easy landing in these areas, especially in real life. That's why planes don't usually fly down in this area, but so here we go, guys, and we're going to stop here, put the parking brake, and we're going to go ahead and exit out here. So this here is the confluence of the Green and Colorado rivers. So this here is the confluence overlook. From here, you can see the confluence between the Colorado River and the Green River. Really cool stuff. Putting that for the picture collection. Really cool stuff here. But yeah, this is the confluence of the two rivers. From this direction, of course, that's the one head to the left. That is the Green River, and the right is the mighty Colorado. And once the two rivers merge downstream, it becomes the big Colorado River you guys all know today. So pretty cool stuff. So this is the confluence. We wanted to check it out here. So let's go ahead and make our way back to the plane. Let's get back inside. A little danger to take off there. So we're going to go ahead and adjust the flaps. Oh, balls. This is why slew mode and all that exist. And we're finally off. So we're gonna head down this way to check out the Maze District. So this is the Maze District, everyone. So that is the Maze District. This is the least accessible district here in the park. But yeah, look at the landscapes here. Yeah, isn't that crazy? So that's the maze, the least accessible area in the park. Gadget FPV, good to see you. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing all right. Thank you for the shout out, Typhon. Definitely check out my good friend Gadget FPV. Does a lot of really good airliner stuff. So this is the Maze District. We're in Canyonlands National Park. We're checking out the Maze District. I mean, just look at the place. Just look at this place. All the unique lambstones. So we're gonna make another bush lane here soon. Hey, we have a fall from Malco Land. Are you not using stream plates? Not yet. I never tried it though. So never tried it yet. So this is the we're gonna check the maze overlook. We're doing some of the really cool stuff. So I probably do want to try it. I probably haven't done it yet. I need to get set up if I want to try it. I need to set it up. This is going to be a... That's actually a really good landing. Oh, that went better than expected. So yeah, this is the maze overlook campground. But the reason I want to land here is I want to show you guys a bit about the maze, obviously. I know it may not look like the greatest in the stream. Give it a go. You may like it. I will. I'll try it next time, Gadget. I have your Discord, so I should get to it pretty easily. So let's go ahead and get out of here for a bit. So this here is the Maze District. Now, this is the least visited district of the major districts in the park. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And these three over here are actually boots, believe it or not. Are actually some major boot formations down a bit to the west. So here you go. That is the maze. The least visited of the three major ones. But it's also pretty striking too, and it's the most pristine. It's the least affected by travel and all that. But I mean, what a crazy area this is. Yes, the Trent Palmer vibes. Yeah, I've been doing this series for quite a long time, and I love doing the Bush series. I may crash a bit when landing, but to be fair, I'm trying to explore you guys the national parks, and I want to show you guys each of the really cool nicks and areas to land. But of course, with the new World Update coming out, and with all that being planned, I want to show you guys. So that is the maze. Least visited area, but really striking scenery. So So we're going to go ahead and take off again. So we're going to go ahead and, yeah, that's why I said take these bush points. Just makes sense for a series like this. Plus, I always like flying the bush points anyway. So anytime I can fly these birds, and we're oh. So we're going to be entering into a bit of the recreation area. We're going to be flying around this area for a decent bit. We're going to be heading our way over here as well. But yeah, like I said, Canyonlands is a very, very striking park. Yeah, we're gonna have. That's why I said. That's why we're doing all these different bushlands here today, because I want to take pictures of these areas, especially when we get the world update. Because Canyonlands is going to be one of the national parks that will be part of the update. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've been watching a lot of the World Cup over the past couple days, of course. So yeah, really cool area. Look at just look at the scenery here. Just marvelous place. So we're 66 nautical miles away from our final stop. We got quite a bit more landing. We got a couple more lanes we're gonna do. We're gonna go into one of the overlooks. I think the White Rim Overlook or the Grand Canyon or the Grand Point Overlook would be the ones I would look at. And then we got one final lane spot at the Needles District. Probably land near Angel Arch would be one we'll land. And then once that, we will make our way to Monticello Airport for our final stop. I decided to change that, be a little shorter, be a bit of a shorter stream, be a little shorter. Yeah, there's a big new world update. It's the National Park update. It's the new world update that's hopefully going to come out July 4th. Would be the new update. But this is actually a very big update. It might be actually one of their biggest world updates they've done in a very, very long time. It's gonna cover the national parks, and the ones listed, all the locations, and Canyonlands is included. So we'll get through this pretty well. So we're about to enter into Island of the Sky. So this here is about the Green River. This is all part of the Cataract Canyon area here. Really cool area though. Another really neat place to fly. Here we go. If you guys want to check out more about the channel, here's the Discord channel. If you guys are interested in checking my Discord, we do these streams every single one, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, of course. So yeah, really cool area here. So. So. Here we go. Yeah, I'm currently getting the Streamflight thing downloaded, gadgets. So I'll go ahead and work on that too. And yes, the new city update as well. That's also going to be a very interesting thing to check out. Maybe that might be Saturday to check out some of the stuff. Let's So here we go, guys. We're going to go to Eye of the Sky. We'll make our next landing there. And then we'll make one last trip over to... Yeah, this thing's kind of flipped, apparently. I guess I'm not. Sorry about that. I was just making sure. So there. So we just went past Mesa Arch. There's Mesa Arch back there. So we're going to make a landing there. So beautiful stuff here. So I think our so this here is about to get to the White Rim Overlook. So we're gonna make 2 more landings. Stuck on hot rocks. So here it is, guys, the White Rim Overlook. So you guys can see down below. Just look at this place. Can you even imagine a place like this? Absolutely insane. Look at this. Forgot you were streaming? Hey, Comic Crazy, hello. Hope you're doing all right there. No worries, Comic Crazy. I was just here. I was just streaming here, of course. Here today. We're just exploring Canyonlands National Park. I was just making sure I was going down here to the national park here today. So, pretty cool stuff here. So that is the white rim in the island sky. It's called that because, well, you're technically pretty high into above the landscape here. There we go. So we're just flying on the canyon rim. Just looks absolutely just marvelous here. So marvelous place here. So Junction Boot is over here. So that here is Junction Boot, which we talked about earlier. So you're in your own world. Hey, I'm a part of my own part of the world, Comic Crazy. But I'm doing just fine. So I hope you're doing all right, Comic Crazy, with your streaming stuff. I hope you're doing well as a content creator and streamer. Hope you're doing all right. So we're about to enter into our last place we're going to be checking things out. We'll be heading to the Niels district here at the park. We're exploring Canyonlands today. Yeah, it's definitely a nice place. And I'm just enjoying the time here, just doing the chill thing about exploring Canyonlands. I mean, not need the flashy music, but really cool stuff. So the Niels district, lots of really cool pieces of scenery here. Be very excited to check that out. So, very, very cool park in general. I cannot wait to see what the new world update comes out for this park. I mean, it's already a beautiful area in the sim now. Can you even imagine what this place looks like post update? I can't even begin to describe how beautiful a place like that would be. So we got Niels District. We got one last stop there, and then we have our one last stop around Angel Arch, of course. Angel Arch and all that. We'll do a flyover of Niels District. Maybe we might stop around Angel Arch. Take a look at it. Or we could just fly over. And then we can wrap up the stream at Monticello Airport. But yeah, this is going to be a really stunning area of the park. So yeah, I'm looking forward to exploring the next national park, of course, on next week, of course, is a really interesting national park. And that being, of course, Washington's North Cascades National Park in Northwest Washington. the last of Washington's 3 national parks, by far the least visited of the national parks in Washington, but I think it has plenty of really cool stuff going for it that I think people would really enjoy. But one very interesting piece of news that I think was interesting in Flight Sim was Flight Sim Studios, who created the E-Jets and all that. Well, he did a very special project that they're going to do. They're building a Tupolev Tu-154, a Soviet airliner, a Soviet trijet. I didn't even think they're going to make that type of aircraft. A very interesting piece of aviation history with that one. That was built back. It was built in the 1960s, of course. Still flying limited service with Air Koryo, but used to be a big aircraft back in the day, but it was, of course, replaced by the much more modern and efficient Western jets. But these aircraft are pretty interesting. They can not only can they reach 3,200 miles, which is pretty impressive. That's compared to the range of a 7.3, but they can also operate from unpaved and gravel airfields, which made them very useful for Arctic conditions in Russia's northern eastern regions. But yes, it's still in limited service, even today, of course. It's still currently operated by Air Koryo as the only civil operator, but it's mainly been flown by the Russian military Russian and Chinese military service. Very old aircraft, but very interesting plane. When you look at its history and stuff, very interesting aircraft. So this here is the Niels district. So yeah, this here is the Niels district. So you can definitely see the really cool carvings on the sandstone. So, and now we get into the Niels district. Very cool little district. Here, we talked about the national park a little earlier today, and explored the notes. Tons of interesting stuff about this park for the notes. But Niels district, really cool stuff. So we'll take some pictures. We'll take pictures for the Discord. So this is the Niels district. Let's see how many pictures I have total for today's National Park Series flight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I got the max pics for the Discord. But really cool stuff. Let's go ahead and such a striking park. Like I said, such diverse scenery. It's not just canyons, but buttes, mesas, just carved into the landscape. Like it's unlike anything else in the United States. There's not very many things that this national park really has set apart. Oh yeah, the Barcelona Grand Prix just happened. Let me guess. Kimi won the race. Again. No way! Lewis Hamilton had finally won for Ferrari, his first Grand Prix for Ferrari. So it was Lewis Hamilton who won. George Russell and Lando Norris. Oh my goodness. Poor Antonelli. He retired from second place. Oh, that was painful for Kimi Antonelli. That's rough. Stroll, Bottas, Alonso, Leclerc, and Behrman are also out as well. But yeah, big win for Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, he wins first GP for Ferrari. So that's a result. As for Team Cadillac, Perez is 14th, the lowest place of all the ones who didn't finish. So, guess it's a win for Team Cadillac. Yeah, look at the landscape in the Niels district. Just this is absolutely insane. Just look at this place. Like, I could not wait to see what the MSFS Sobo can do to this place. This one is one of the parks I'm looking forward to the most. Absolutely insane. So we're going to climb up to 9,000 feet. So we're about to leave the national park. So we're going to go ahead and so we're going to go through all this area here. We're going to climb up to 9,000 feet here at the national park. We're going to get through Kirk Cabin. So 9,000 feet. We're going to climb up. Then we'll turn left and we'll make our way to Monticello City Airport. Yeah, showing us what the power of this X Cup can do. Really, really cool aircraft. Like I said, I'm glad to take the X Cup here today with the big wheels. It's made landing through this area significantly less painful. But trust me, the sim does not do this park justice, because if you ever visit the national park in real life, the real life version of the park is far more stunning than what's in the sim. Let me show you what some of the real life pictures from the park look like. Just wanted to show you guys what I'm talking about. One of the ones is the Mesa Arch Trail, which is one of the most popular views of the park. Is at the Eye of the Sky District, which is the most viewed. So Mesa Arch Trail is the most popular trail of the park. So here we go. So this here is Mesa Arch, one of the arches in the park. Of course, this was not featured here on the stream, of course. They didn't have that in the park. So that's Mesa Arch itself. And here's some of the views from the trail. Look how nice that looks in comparison to what we saw here. Yeah, when you're there in real life, it's quite hard taking the view, especially when you're there in real life. Exactly. Like, some of the stuff's still pretty nice though in the sim. Don't get me wrong, but compared to real life, it's so much more detailed. So I'm gonna switch to the right tank. But yeah, these are some of the real life views for Mesa Arch Trail. Just Just look at the views of the different parts of the canyon. Like, come on, look at that. Just look at the crazy rock formations and all that. It's just insane. Now here's Chester Point Trail. This is the hard trail here, but this is in the Needles District. So yeah, this is some of the stuff the Needles look like. Yeah, that right there is part of the Needles area. I mean, just look at that. Yeah, just look at that. That's just insane. I'm going to look more. I'm going to explore more trails and see if there's any around the Maze District. So is there any trails in the maze? Okay. So here's this one. This one right here. Harvest Scene via Maze Overlook Trail. This is one of those trails from the Maze District. So this is the Maze District, the least visited district here. The ones you can get into pretty easily. But I mean, just look at the striking coloration with the sandstone stuff. It's like I said, it's the most remote, and it's the hardest one to get to, but it also has the most pristine environment that's untouched by human activity. Of the major areas listed in the park. An absolutely incredible scenery here. Here's the maze overlook. Just look at the striking colors here. The reds, the white, the cream white colors. Just absolutely striking. Some really great places, scenery and stuff. Really, really enjoyable. And look at that during sunrise. Just the colors. See, what I'm trying to get at here is the sim just doesn't do this area kind of justice, just like Bryce Canyon is, but it's still a really beautiful park, and definitely one of the most striking parks that we have here in the National Park Service, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah. But like I said, we'll continue to go forward for the National Park Service, and we'll show you guys all about the National Park Service and stuff. Very excited for it. I'll let you guys know when more details of this update come out, and I'll readjust the plans accordingly. So our airport is down ahead of us. Is our airport. So, but yeah, here it is, our final stop, guys. Thank you all so much for coming with me today. Thank you, Shaq OSC, for bringing your viewers here today for the raid. We're about to make one final landing here at Monticello City Airport. Uniform 6-4. Here she is. I hope to see you guys soon. We'll be back in Texas, of course. We'll be in Corpus Christi. We'll start in Corpus Christi, of course. Thankfully, I don't worry about crashing here. So. And we're now. Nice. Here we go. And down we go. Nice. So we'll stop right here and we'll turn up the engines. So guys, thank you all so much for coming here this morning, of course. We made it to Monticello here in Utah. So guys, a massive thank you for everyone here, of course. This was a really fun flight. I really enjoyed it. I know we did have a bit of a crash, but we really enjoyed this time here at Canyonlands National Park. So I'm going to find someone to raid. I'm thinking that we're going to raid... I think we're going to raid Ian Fisher. I haven't raided his stream in a while, so we're going to raid Ian's stream. So guys, I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. We're going to be back Friday for a game day flight, the Netherlands versus Sweden at NRG Stadium in Houston for the World Cup. So we'll see you in Texas. Goodbye, everyone, and have a fantastic rest of the day. And see you all soon. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.